Claremont is a school of about 1,200 students. We serve students from grades 9 to grade 12. Student wellness at Claremont is a priority this year in particular, but we're a really large school, and so we need to have lots of opportunities for students to be able to connect in.
The counselling team at Claremont comprises of Danielle Huber, the youth and family worker, Amanda Geese, who's my counterpart in counselling, and then myself, Renato Palmer.
We use a comprehensive model to support wellness in the building. What that means is that we're looking at a triangle model or a pyramid model, with the bottom of the model being all students, every student in the school. The middle of the model would be those students that might need some targeted support, and at the top of the model, those are the students that need some individualized support.
We had a lot of students coming to the counselling office and checking in because they were struggling. And to be honest with you, I think we do a pretty good job of that when students need support, because I think Claremont's a very welcoming place and there's an amazing team here looking out for people. But one of the things that we were finding that we weren't doing a very good job is making sure that we're reaching all students, because a lot of students don't feel comfortable coming to a counselling office or coming and discussing their problems.
The bottom of the triangle, that's our whole student body. And how we try to enrich our whole student body with this social emotional learning is by infusing it into the classroom. So students are learning not just about the content of the course that they're taking, but they're learning about themselves in relation to the subject and in relation to one another.
So one of the ideas that was developed was the idea of comprehensive counselling, covering topics that teachers felt comfortable with, to make a connection with students in the classroom and discuss real life things. Because I think in the old days, school was very much about curriculum, and we recognize that there's a whole person there, and that's more than just subject matter. And so on a monthly basis, we basically have a homeroom idea where teachers are given a series of slides where they can basically tackle a topic. Things like sleep or resilience or well-being. But the idea is that there's some meaningful, deep conversations happening between teachers and students around things that are real and happening in their lives.
It's our goal to build a really strong community where students are able to be themselves and take care of one another. We build community through creating theme days. We have lots and lots of sports for students to engage in at every different level. We have lots of clubs that take place at lunch, before school, and after school. What it means to be inclusive is that every student in the building has a place in the classroom. The bottom tier is also proactive in nature, and what we know about students is that their most important support is their friends. It's really important for us that we are equipping these friends so that they have some skills. Building capacity, that bottom of the triangle, is so important, because even if a student isn't needing support right now, they will eventually. We know that. And they need to have a basic understanding of what am I equipped to support with and what do I need to ask for help with. And that's where we start moving into that second level. Support students that are in the middle of that triangle. That might look like connecting them into a lunchtime group that meets their individual needs. Sometimes it looks like we're connecting them with one of our integration support teachers so that their needs are being met inside the classroom.
One of the things we did a few years ago is we created a Welcomers Club. The reason we did that is we found that we had a lot of students that not only came into grade 9 that were new to a school, but also students that were either new immigrants or international students or students moving from other parts of the country. And so we created a lunch club essentially where students can come in. We always have some cookies and they can play some ping pong, play some foosball, meet some students. So those clubs play a critical role in making students feel comfortable.
Student voice is really important to us. We want to make sure that we're being as responsive as possible. Recently, we had 3 students come to us saying, gosh, it's been, it's a tense time, and wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a mindfulness club?
I'm Mari.
I'm Emmy.
I'm Ellie, and we started a group called Weekly Wellness here at Claremont.
Every week we do things like yoga, meditation, guided breathing, or just whatever the group wants to do that will make them feel better.
It's a really safe space to be, no commitment at all. You can come in one Monday and just never come again. We try to make sure it's as safe as possible for everybody.
I feel like we're all passionate about self-care and wellness. I feel like a lot of people at Claremont just need a place to go where they can take a break.
Students have reached out to us and said that this is a great idea. We got a lot of teacher support saying good job, this is such a good idea, our school needs this. The focus of our group is everyone's problems and struggles are equal.
The students that require the most individualized supports are at the top of the triangle. That looks like any of the supports found from the bottom 2 tiers of the triangle, but it also might look like connecting students with an outside counselor. And we have a really comprehensive support system within the school to make sure that they can be successful with their learning and with their mental health.
Sometimes it's quick, and sometimes, to be honest with you, it can take years to develop those relationships, but the goal is for every student to feel connected. So there's lots of ways in which those individualized helping happens. One of the great things that comes out of supporting students is liaising with outside agencies, including places like Saanich Mental Health, which is down the road, where students can go and meet a counselor and see if they can get counseling support if they need. Or there's the Foundry, there's Discovery Youth Services that supports families around anything related to substances and addiction. There's the Eating Disorders Clinic on Jutland. There's Learning Through Loss. The honest truth is we have an amazing variety of resources that we can tap into.
These relationships play a pivotal role in the social development of our students, and they help give us insight into what's actually going on for students. We recognize that we have these relationships with young people when we're able to approach our students and ask them to share vulnerable stories of their own journey with mental health. They were very brave to be able to share what their journey with mental wellness has been like while they've been at Claremont.
Honestly, I had a rougher grade 9 than anything else. That was probably it. That was my one tough year, and that was my big experience with mental health and it really becoming a prominent thing and me becoming more aware of it and learning about it.
I've struggled with mental health for a while. I find that my mood is very fluctuating and I have a hard time staying really happy and feeling fulfilled in my life.
My experience with mental health and wellness has been ups and downs, I'd say, throughout my life. And yeah, it's gotten pretty good, I'd say, since when it was bad.
My experience with mental health and well-being has definitely been a rocky one. I have some lows that go pretty low, and I also have days that it's pretty high, and I'm feeling okay.
I surround myself with things that I know are not good for me, but it's hard to avoid, and that contributes to a sort of negative headspace.
Something that impacted me is probably being bullied in elementary school and middle school. It's kind of stuck with me, everything they've said and all.
Definitely when both my sisters moved away, that was a big problem for me. They both left around the same time, and I just felt pretty alone.
I mean, for me, it was just it got to the point where it was my life was just not where I wanted to really be. I just needed something to change, and I tried a lot of things, and a lot of it didn't really work. And so that turned to okay, it's time to try something that's been recommended maybe.
My support system looks like my friends at school. I have a lot of really close friends who we all have similar issues, I guess you could say. So we're there for each other, and we all know how to support each other and make each other feel better. And also I have some great relationships with some teachers at Claremont. They helped me out a lot.
It was just going downhill. It was getting worse and then worse and then worse. And for me, I joined a volleyball, and just being with those team and with those kind of people and around friends who have your back, and just knowing that they have your back, that helped, and that got me through it. And that was the pivot point, really. And then I started playing rugby, and then that was another pivot point, and it's just gotten better from there.
I have my parents and a couple of good friends who I feel comfortable around, and the Claremont staff. They make a big difference, I think.
I'd say allowing me to get over it was probably my friends, because they helped me through it a lot, and they've kind of gone through the same stuff I've gone through, so that helps.
Claremont definitely recognizes that it's like mental health and well-being is a big problem, like among people our age, like teenagers. So they do try their best, and all the teachers like to reach out and just be there. You know, if they notice that a kid's down, like they'll recognize it. And there's lots of clubs and stuff available around the school to reach out for help. And they also make it known that like mental health, it's serious. It's a serious problem, and it's something that you have to care about.
I see a lot of posters with like helplines or saying like it's okay to reach out, which I think is good, and the staff is definitely very open and not shy about speaking up about mental health and raising awareness.
There are many good teachers at Claremont that you can confide in, and the counselors are also really helpful.
One that probably does help, but it's like being around those people who are supportive and those people you know have your back is a big one. Having those friends around who like lift you up and support you, that's very important. And just taking a second to really reflect and just think like, where am I? What's going wrong? What is an issue? How can I fix that? Like for me, sometimes just stopping and like not just continuing, just stopping and dealing with it, or trying to figure out a way to solve it or get further along or into a better position than you currently are. I think that's a big one I learned, and so that's one I still use now.
I don't think I reached out for help at first. I think it was just noticed that I maybe needed some. So then with the help of like a lot of teachers, they all kind of like crowded around me. As claustrophobic as it felt, I now recognize like that I needed it, and it was very beneficial.
Through the counselors, I would say, because they always know what to say to put me at ease and stuff, and they are really helpful with like what life's gonna look like after high school. It really puts my mind at ease, I'd say.
I was terrified. It's tough to like really look somebody in the eyes and admit that you need help, but it got easier eventually. And I'm not very open with people about myself, so it's difficult to have someone completely new and then tell them like how your brain works. But I definitely got used to it, and it did help in the long run.
I think schools could reach students in more effective ways by acknowledging that like bullying and school stress is a thing, because to get over the problem, you have to acknowledge the problem. So I'd say that's a good way to kind of get over it, and yeah.
My little advice is like, no matter your struggle, like it's gonna affect you. Like everybody has their own struggle, and it affects everyone. Like nobody's struggle is less than someone else's. I think they're all equal. So don't ever not go to someone because you think your struggle or your issues are not like important enough, or you think there's other people going through like harder things. No, like, everybody's can struggle the same. Everything's
gonna get better. I think that I rely very heavily on other people as a source of happiness when I should be relying on myself. So just like be happier with who I am, and you don't need to stress so much about, oh, do people like me, or do I fit in, when like all that really matters is that I like myself.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Just know that there's always someone there who will listen and who will help you if you need it. Keep your good friends around. Don't push them away because the popular people started giving you attention. Keep your close and genuine friends there because they'll be there when it counts.